I am not a paranormal investigator. I am an author. While looking for inspiration for a book, I came across a series of stories surrounding a home in the American Pacific Northwest. It is an extremely ordinary-looking house in an extremely ordinary-looking residential neighborhood. But the stories that have emanated from its former residents and the people who lived in the town that it's located in are quite extraordinary. Through my research of the house on Wendall Lane, I have come across accounts that range from the supernatural to just plain bizarre. In order to protect the privacy of the people in the town and the current inhabitants of the house on Wendall Lane, I have not only changed the name of everyone in these stories, but the name of the street as well. Wendall Lane is just an alias for the true location of these accounts. Daniel Huff is a drifter who has been described as dangerous and unbalanced. He is currently wanted for the murder of his wife Margaret. 7 years ago, she was allegedly thrown from the top of their apartment complex. Daniel, who was the only witness, claimed that she jumped, but disappeared shortly after an investigation was launched. He has been said to turn up at the funerals of suicide victims, making strange claims and asking family members about the circumstances surrounding their loved ones' deaths. In March of this year, an anonymous tip led police to a hotel room he had rented in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. He was not present at the time of the raid, but many of his belongings were recovered from the scene. The following is an excerpt from his audio journal. It involves a former resident of the house on Wendall Lane. The case he references is very public, so the important names have been edited out in order to prevent people from digging further into the house and learning its true location.
Margaret, it's been 7 years, and every morning when I wake up, I still roll over expecting to see you there, lying next to me. I swear you used to glow in the morning. It isn't fair what happened. It isn't right what that thing did to you. I'm gonna make it pay, though. I promise you, I'm going to make it pay. Things have been quiet for about 6 months. I thought the trail had run cold, but 5 weeks ago, a story started getting picked up by media circles, and I thought it sounded like our friend was back. A woman recently made headlines for the murder of her 8-year-old daughter. Her defense attorneys were lobbying hard for an insanity plea, and she claimed to be suffering from a total loss of memory in the hours surrounding her daughter's death. This situation-specific amnesia might sound all too convenient, but her story did share some common elements with the other cases that I've looked into, so I decided to dig a little deeper. I was glad I did, because what I found was exactly the kind of break I've been waiting for. A clinical psychologist was assigned to the case in order to assess her mental faculties. He performed many tests during his examination and did eventually conclude that her insanity plea did carry merit. During his testimony, he cited the hypnotherapy sessions he performed on her as one of the things that swayed his decision. I was able to obtain a copy of one of these sessions after breaking into his office, and after listening to it, my suspicions were confirmed. The damn thing has reared its ugly head again and ruined yet another person's life. Still, it's curious that this happened on the other side of the country. It had been my thinking that it only seemed to lurk around the Northeast, since every single incident that's been reported has come out of New England. Yet here it is, turning up in... Strange. There could be another factor at play here. I've looked into the place, and though this is the only incident regarding the creature I've been hunting, the house itself seems to have a history of paranormal activity. Maybe some places are just magnets for these types of things. I don't know. I don't really care. All that matters is that I find this thing and I put it down. I'll play the recording that I've obtained. Margaret, if you could hear it, I know you'd be pleased. It's back. And I feel like I'm closer to it than ever.
So, you hadn't heard the stories?
No. I hadn't heard any of the stories about the house until Lily and I moved in. I actually first heard about it through her. She came crying home from school one day because the kids found out where she lived and were teasing her about it.
What did they say?
The kids said that it was haunted.
Do you believe that? Is that why you're here?
No, I don't think it's haunted. I mean, I don't know. But I think there's something else.
You said you heard other stories.
Yeah. A guy that I worked with lived in the town his whole life. He had at least a dozen different stories he's heard over the years. My neighbor's teenage daughter wouldn't babysit Lily unless she comes over to her house.
So, are you ready to begin our hypnotherapy session?
Yes. I'm ready, Doctor.
I'm gonna fast forward the audio here a bit. The doctor spends about 20 minutes getting her in the right state of mind. It isn't important. The audio will pick up at the good stuff. I always thought hypnosis was bullshit, but whatever he did seems to work because it doesn't really sound like herself anymore. It's like she's been sedated, like she's taken a bunch of morphine or something.
Please tell me your name.
My name is...
Very good. I want you to listen to me. Pay attention to my questions and answer them to the best of your ability. You're back in the house now, right before Lily died. Tell me what you see.
It's late. I'm looking at the digital clock on the DVD player. It's 2:22 a.m.
You can't sleep?
No. I tried to earlier, but something didn't feel right. I've never felt so uncomfortable in my own bed before.
So, what do? Watch TV?
Yes. But nothing is on. Still, it feels better than lying in bed.
Where is Lily?
I put her to bed hours ago. She cried when I tucked her in.
Why was she crying?
She said that she saw a monster in her room last night, and she was scared. I told her that if she gets scared, she can hide under her blanket, and that no monster could get her there.
So, you are watching TV. You look at your clock, and it says 2:22. Then what?
I hear a noise coming from Lily's room.
A noise? What kind of noise? Like a thud?
No. Like an animal. Or a man. I don't know. It sounds like a person growling. Like if a person was doing an impression of what an angry dog might sound like.
Could it be Lily?
I don't think Lily can make this noise. She's only 8, and this voice has too much bass in it for a little girl. I'm scared.
What happens next?
As I approach the door, the noise gets louder. I open the door.
What do you see?
It's Lily. She's standing in the middle of her room with her lavender floral print blanket draped over her head. It's oversized, and she's just a little girl, so it covers her whole body and drapes across the floor. I think she's facing the closet. The noise is coming from her.
Has Lily ever done anything like this before?
No.
What happens next?
I call her name. I'm so nervous that my voice barely escapes as a whisper. She stops making that snarling noise and turns in my direction. Lily, I say a little louder. What are you doing? Then, I hear Lily's voice. It's barely audible. Mommy. It sends shivers down my spine because it's not coming from the blanket.
Lily's voice isn't coming from the blanket? Where's it coming from then?
From her closet. I tiptoe around the mound in the middle of the room. I keep my eye on it the whole time. It doesn't move, but it begins growling again. It's louder this time. My heart is racing 1,000,000 miles per hour. I feel like it's going to jump out of my chest. I get to the closet and open the door. Lily is sitting behind it. She's been crying. I pick her up in my arms. She buries her head in my shoulder.
Something else is in the room with you and Lily, and it's under the blanket?
Yes. I'm not fully grasping it until just now. I'm praying in my head that whatever is under Lily's blanket doesn't come out. It's still growling. The noise is getting louder. And now I know I have to go back around it to get to the door.
What is Lily doing?
She's crying, holding me tight.
What happened next?
I start to move slowly for the door, but it begins to shift under the blanket. I feel like my legs are frozen.
Frozen? How? Too scared to move?
I'm scared, but I don't know. I just can't move. And then it shows itself to me. It comes out from under the blanket, and it's terrible.
It?
It's a monster. There's no other way to describe it. It has big black eyes and long sharp fingers. Its skin is yellow, and its mouth, it's awful. It's the most awful thing I've ever seen.
You still can't move?
I'm frozen. My whole body feels like a statue. Lily is begging me to run, but I can't. It moves like an animal, stalking us on all fours. But in my heart, I know it's not me that it wants. It's her.
It wants Lily.
Yes, it snakes its way right up to us, but it's completely ignoring me now. I'm not sure if it ever really cared I was there. I realize now that I can't talk. God, why can't I talk? I'm paralyzed. Lily is scared. It's staring right into her eyes. It extends a finger and scratches her on the cheek. I want to scream, but I can't. I'm helpless. This thing just made my baby bleed. I think I'm going to have to watch as it tortures her. But after that, it just leaves.
It leaves? Where does it go?
Out the window. I can move again after that. I carry Lily into the kitchen and put her on the counter so I can dial the police.
Is she crying still?
No, she's catatonic. I'm terrified, so I can't imagine how she must be feeling. When I finally get an operator, I tell her what happened, but she doesn't believe me. She asks if I'm on any medication.
What happened next?
I remember the window is unlocked in Lily's bedroom, so I head back in there to make sure that thing hasn't returned. It isn't back. I lock the window, and as I'm doing this, I'm trying to convince the damn dispatcher to send the police over to my house. And then I go back into the kitchen. Lily is standing there with a carving knife. She has it pointed towards her stomach. She looks at me, except she's not looking at me. She's looking through me. Her eyes are glossy and glazed over. And again, I'm frozen. Even though I locked the window, I can feel that thing's presence in the room. I can't move. I want to go to her, but I can't. Something's not letting me. She drives the knife into her stomach. Again and again. It's terrible. And when she's done, she falls to the floor. Her face is white. There's so much blood all over the floor. I'm in shock. All I can do is stare at her. Right before she shuts her eyes, she whispers something to me. It's barely audible, but I'm able to hear it.
What does she say?
She says, "He is the rake."
Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I just wanted to make a quick announcement at the end of this collaboration work because I've got an even bigger collaboration that's going to be coming up. I know all of you heard Vincent van Cava himself, along with CreepsMcPasta and CreepyMissusPasta in tonight's video, all of which did a wonderful job voice acting for this incredible story. But Vincent van Cava and I are working on a comic book together, so a lot of the artwork that you're seeing back here comes from Chris Oz, Fulton, and BleeingHeartworks, as well as the colors by Tio Gonzalez. I've got an official video that's going to be coming up to announce the whole big project, but I couldn't really help myself. I have to let you guys know about it right now. So check out CreepyPastaComics.com for more information and a link over to the Kickstarter, and be on the lookout for the official announcement video in just a few days. And thanks for watching, kids. As always, sweet dreams.